Hey guys, I'm Catherine Price from here in Lake Wales, and this is number 2 podcast for me. I'm kind of experimenting. This is a new toy I've got, this program where I can do these little podcasts about local issues of interest that are probably not being covered by the big Orlando and Tampa TV stations and even local radio stations. So this is the Lake Wales Pod. I'm Catherine Price, and these are a couple of my friends in Lake Wales. We've sort of been concerned about a proposed plastic pipe plant at the corner of 11th Street South and Hunt Brothers Road for the last several months. We first found out about this sort of out of the blue, kind of popped out of the ether in January. And since then, we have been sort of opposing this plan, I should say. Charlene Bennett for many years, I thought you were on there about 7 or 8 years on the Lake Wales Planning and Zoning Board.
Yeah.
And she's been involved in a number of local organizations. And we've kind of, and I'll let you introduce yourself. And then this is Bruce Francis, a new friend that I met actually through our opposition to the pipe plant. Bruce lives over in Highland Park Manor, which is over sort of behind Walmart, over in their community. And he's recently come back to Lake Wales. He was raised in Lake Wales. So let me just let Charlene go first and kind of give a brief, like how she learned about the plant and her concerns, and then we'll just go to Bruce after that.
Well, I first learned about it through the Lake Wales News.net. And I think that's the way most people learned about it. And it was a shocker to us. It was even a shocker to the people in the city commission. We watched Robin Gibson sit there and with total surprise to learn that this had been going on for almost 2 years. And as a commissioner, he knew nothing about it. So it was a shock, and we all had to absorb it and then decide what steps we wanted to take to deal with it.
Well, and it's just an aside, this is it's 97 acres. They're talking about building a plastic extrusion plant for making drainage pipes, storing them outside. The building itself, the manufacturing building is about the size of 7 football fields. And it's in an area that has current residences. There's several established neighborhoods, and there's a number of pieces of property that abut it that have recently been annexed into the city and zoned residential. And Bruce lives in one of those communities that are very close to the pipe plant. You want to talk a little bit about your background and how you found out?
Well, I found out basically the same way that Charlene did about the pipe factory. And my main concern is this company, Advanced Drainage Systems, has a capitalization of almost $6 billion, maybe a little bit more. And I'm sure this company has used the expertise of not only their management, but outside expertise to analyze their purchase and operation of this plant. What disturbs me is that the city of Lake Wales is entering into this transaction, which will be a long-term transaction, and we haven't hired not one expert to look at impact on surrounding neighborhoods. We haven't, the city of Lake Wales has not hired one expert to look at the environmental impact that this will have on the neighborhood or community. We have not used the expertise of anyone that's qualified to go into this so that we'll have the information to make the same kind of educated decision that the manufacturer or the factory is making. So it just really disturbs me.
Well, to be clear, this plant will be, storing and we've gone through the three of us have gone through a number of iterations of learning about this plant, trying to educate the community about it. And sort of where we stand right now is that the city commission, including our new city commissioner, Keith Thompson, and our mayor, Jack Hilligoss, they voted 5-1 to basically push forward the agenda of letting the Lake Wales city staff rezone this property so that they can sell the property to ADS. Even though the majority of the people that showed up the other night at the city commission were in opposition to that. We're also, there's an informational meeting supposedly at the Lake Wales Arts Center this coming Wednesday, April 26th at 6 to 8 p.m., where the ADS, Advanced Drainage Systems people are supposedly coming to talk to us. And I did hear from one of our city commissioners, Robin Gibson, who's kind of the moderator, that there would be question and answers, because some of us had heard there would not be.
But this is putting us on the wrong side of the mule, because it would have been much easier if ADS had called such a meeting at the beginning of this process. You don't do this after the fact or at the end of a process. It would be much easier to explain to the public, explain to the residents that are close by what their intent was and how it was going to affect us. Why would you do it at the end of a process? Doesn't make sense at all.
It's a very disheartening to me, because the only people pretty much who spoke up, and it was mostly at the last meeting, in favor of this plant were mostly the power brokers and the people who already have skin in the game in some way to get this plant here. Whereas the people like us who spoke in opposition were in great numbers. We represented all kinds of people, a cross section of the people of Lake Wales. And the commission basically just blew us off. It would have been so easy for them to say, now these people are really interested. They're telling us what they think. We need to listen to that. The least we can do is follow their lead and give them a fair hearing, a public hearing, which is what they're asking for, and also find a way to get them really legitimate, objective information about this pipe plant. Mm-hmm. None of that has happened. And it's like they could care less how important this is to us. Mm-hmm. That's what's disheartening to me.
There are 3 communities in the Lake Wales area that are pretty close to this plant. The one that is in the city limits of Lake Wales is Whispering Ridge. The other one is Highland Park Manor, which is where Bruce lives. That one is in the county, not directly in the city. And then there is Highland Park, which is the village of Highland Park, which is sort of an incorporated little village right over the hill, just south of this piece of property. And a number of people were there from all 3 communities, as well as other people that are concerned in the city and people that live down toward Babson Park. And those are the people that really are going to bear the brunt of the problem, because there's going to be traffic. There's going to be potentially, light, sound pollution. We don't really understand what kind of air quality issues there are, or even water. We don't know at this point whether they're going to tie into Lake Wales' wastewater system and potentially be putting microplastics into our wastewater stream, or if they're going to use a commercial septic tank, which septic tanks eventually go back into your groundwater table. So there are a lot of big questions that have not been answered about this facility.
Well, I think you're having a question and answer period at the end of a process. For what reason would you have that at the end, or would you have it at all at this point, when you've already decided that the deal is going to go forward, that says something either about the character of the people that are doing this or the intent of the people that are doing this. This is not a fair deal. You're not treating the people that are being affected fairly. And I'm sure if it was near any of the commissioners' homes, right, they would want to know this ahead of time. I think it's the old trick again. Just dump your trash where you don't want where you don't have to look at it.
Yes. It's following a pattern that's old as whatever here in our country, where small landowners, particularly in mixed areas, get the brunt of industrial development and all that comes with it. In this case, probably it's light and noise pollution, air pollution, noise and smell. Some of us have smelled odors when we've gone to that plant. So it's just, Lake Wales has never before juxtapositioned a plant like this in a residential area. This is a residential area, and there are going to be like 5,000 people or more at some point living around this.
Well, Lake Wales does have a history of this in the sense of the juice factory.
Well, the Florida's natural. Yes, that is one.
But I think that it's important that people, a couple of things. There will be this meeting at the Arts Center on Wednesday, April 26th at 6 to 8 p.m. If people want to come out and try to, hear what ADS has to say. Also, the final reading of this ordinance, which will allow the city staff to make that zoning change from light to heavy industrial, which will be required for the placement of and the selling of this piece of property to the plant owners, will probably be at our next regular city commission meeting. Which, do you know the date of that?
It's May 2nd, I think.
Yeah, I think it's May 2nd, Tuesday, May 2nd at 6 a.m. at the Lakewood. And now, you have to get there early if you want to speak to sign the speaker card. But this last meeting, 5 of our city commissioners just voted to give the city staff the ability to make that change. So it's not looking good, but we do need to have people knowledgeable about this and, come out and asking questions still, because there's some other things that need, if we're going to get the plant, we also need to have people that speak up about the site planning process.
Well, we just got to make sure that we have numbers there again, people speaking out before it's really all over.
And we need to remember that we're not just talking about this plant. We're talking about a process that will apply to similar situations in the future, which means that similar things can happen in the future without a public hearing, without getting objective studies, and without hearing for the people and valuing what they have to say. So we're not heading in a good direction with this.
Yeah. That's a major point, because what it could do is turn Lake Wales over to the industrialist. That's funny.
Well, and we know we're not gonna go there willingly, right?
Right, exactly. Right.
And we love our town, we love our community, and we're doing our best to try to educate people about what's going on and to keep people in the loop.
You know what? It really is, where we may be going with this is really in opposition to the Lake Wales envisioned process that's going on now, the kinds of things that they're talking about for our community, the beauty of it, the environmental aspect of it, is just not consistent with a pipe plant in the middle of a neighborhood. And it's just amazing that 5 commissioners were willing not to look at that.
Yeah, and I wanted to also say as we ended up, the 5 commissioners we have right now are, the mayor is Jack Hilligoss. We have Danny Krieger is one of our city commissioners. Daniel Williams. We also have
Terry
Robin
Howell.
Gibson. Well, Terry Howell, this will
She's
be
leaving.
her last city commission meeting. She's done a lot for Lake Wales, and we appreciate that. But she's stepping down, and we have a new commissioner, Keith Thompson. So if people are concerned about this, those are the people, the main people that people need to address and talk to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all coming on here, and see you soon. See you
Okay.
Wednesday.
Thank you.
Okay, 6 o'clock at the Art Center. Bye.
Bye-bye.